Hi, so this question is all about surds. So it says express the square root of 48 plus the square root of 108 in the form k root 3, where k is an integer. Okay, so this is the expression we're looking at. We need to make sure what form we want our answer in, and also it's important to notice that our k here is an integer. Now, what quite often happens with questions like this is that students get a bit nervous about the fact that there's a k there and a bit confused by it. To be honest with you, it's almost worth forgetting about this bit and just think to yourself, right, I've got an expression here, and what this question's really asking me to do is to simplify that expression, and that's it. And if you put that part of it to one side for a moment and just simplify this expression, then what you'll find is actually your answer will be in the required form. Okay. So the key with simplifying a surd is that you are looking for two factors of the number in each of the surds. So if we take them one at a time, so for example, if we start with the square root of 48, we want to think about the factors of 48, and when you're breaking it down into its factors, what you're looking for is for one of those factors to be a square number. If that is then a square number, then when you separate them out, you're able to square root. So if I just show you that with the number 48. So 48 has actually got a lot of factors. One of the factors is 16. You might not spot that straight away though. So maybe you might spot a bit easier that actually 4 goes into it. So 16 and 4, both of those are square numbers, so both of those will work. So if I first of all show you 16, 16 is the best number because you're always looking for the biggest square number that goes into it, and I'll show you why now. So the square root, so 48 can be split into its factors of 16 times 3. Okay, so you are allowed, with the rules of surds, to split that up into the square root of 16 times by the square root of 3. Now the beauty of this then is that because 16 is a square number, you can square root it, and so therefore the square root of 16 is actually 4. Just like with algebra, we now don't need to write our times sign, and we can just write 4 root 3. And when you're practicing these, if you do it on your calculator will do that for you so you can check you've got the right answer. But as I'm sure you can guess, this question will come up on the non-calculator paper. Now, I mentioned that you could have used 4, so let me just show you how that works. That is not going to give you the best answer, but you can still use it to get to the final answer. So 48 is 4 times 12 as well. So the square root of 48 is the square root of 4 times by the square root of 12. So in the same way, we simplify. Square root of 4 is 2, so we get 2 root 12. You might be thinking, hang on, that's not the same as that, and you'd be right, it's not. However, when we look at 12, we should be then, when you get to a point where you have simplified, you then look at your surd and you see whether it can be simplified any further. Now 12 has factors, and a factor pair for 12 is 4 and 3, so it does have another square factor. If you get to this point and you've run out of square factors, you know you're done. However, if you get here and you find there's another square factor, you can use it. So we get 2, not forgetting our 2, times the square root of 4 times by the square root of 3. So root 4 times root 3 gives us our 12. Root 4 is then 2, so we end up with 2 times 2 times root 3, which is obviously then 4 root 3. So this is the most efficient route, but if you don't think of that number immediately, then this way will get you there just as well. Okay. The other surd we've got is 108. So I'll let you play around with this in your own time. There are a lot of square numbers that will go, sorry, there are 2 square numbers rather that will also go into 108. Okay. So 1, for example, would be 9, all right, and another one would be 4, and we can use those numbers to get to our answer. So, for example, if we use 9, it's root 9 times by root 12, okay? So that would be 3 root 12, and then our root 12, just like we did up here, okay, we know that root 12 becomes 2 root 3, so we get 3 times 2 root 3, so overall we get 6 root 3, okay? And likewise, we could have also done straight away, 108 would also be root 36 times root 3, and root 36 is 6, so it's 6 root 3, okay? So either way, we get to that answer. Now, that's just working out those two parts, and obviously when you do this in the exam, you will have just done one root for each of those, and you'll get to your answer. So, we have root 48 plus root 108, and we have been asked to, essentially, this is a coded question if you like, what they're essentially asking you to do, as I said, is to simplify. We now know that root 48 is 4 root 3, and we know that root 108 is 6 root 3. Now, when you get here, you can actually simplify that just like you would algebra. So if that was 4x plus 6x, I would have 10x. So my answer, in the same way, is 10 root 3. Okay? And if we go back to our question, it says express this in the form k root 3, where k is an integer. Well, there we go. We've got it in that form, 10 root 3. And we can even say that k is therefore equal to 10. And as you can see, k is an integer.